All right, so now I've filled in the rest of those plants I told you I was going to do. So over here on this side, I've got a few shrubs. And then all around the border of my park, I have kind of a line of little bushes. So, and then of course our two little potted plants we stuck over at the bank. So already we have more than, I've got more than my 10. But if you wanted to put in some other items, I wanted to cover a few more. So we're going to start with just some street lights, some little like street lamps. And the structure of these could vary depending on the look you want. If you want like something really, really tall, like more modern street lights, you'd probably have something like a very tall pole. Something like that, right? Like that would be your street light, but pretend that this wasn't all weird. Or an older fashioned street light, you might, have a little pedestal with a pole coming up. And then maybe you'd have this sort of thing going on. You have something like that. So it's kind of up to you what kind of a look you want to go for. The look I'm going for is kind of a cutesy Main Street sort of aesthetic. So I'm going to go with more old-timey street lights, I think. So I'm going to put, so one other thing I did, the only other thing I did, aside from putting in my, the rest of those bushes and stuff, was that I put in this little path. So basically we've got a row of bushes here and there kind of blocking the access to the park. And so there's this one little opening where people can walk into the park. So I put a little path. And, toward the end, I'm probably going to, I may add some detail like that. So it's like, oh, this is all grassy. And then, that's just going to be, kind of a dirt path. And more grass over here. But I think along the way, I'm going to add a couple of little street lights. So I'm going to add a little divot where I want them. I'm gonna put one there, and I think one here. And that's all I'm gonna worry about. And I'm going to have them come up to about like here. So I'm just going to, I'm not gonna do a whole line across this because that would involve erasing across a lot of structures I've already made. I'm just gonna put a little mark where the top of that street lamp is going to be. And I'm actually going to cheat a little bit here. And look at a picture. Okay, so this is a street lamp I'm gonna kind of model this after. So I'm gonna have a little base and then a pole, and then this is very much like what I had sketched out a second for you on the back of the paper. But if you ever are in a situation where you're not sure how to do something, look up a reference photo. They're out there. Google Images is always pretty well stocked. The only thing is you don't want to do that if you are doing a piece that is for a competition, because they are going to want to see all of your references, usually, for most competitions. And their purpose for doing that is to make sure you're not, ripping off another artist's work. All right, so I'm kind of just there's my street light. And then I'll come over here. I'll do about the same thing. I'm trying to make these two match as much as possible. There we go. So we've got a couple of little street lights there. And let's see, if I wanted to make a line of them, though, I could do that too. Let's see. I haven't really left myself any good places for street lights over here. I think I'm going to, let's see, if I were to run this all the way over here, this little line that I use to make the tops of my street lamps, it would be like right there, right? So if I wanted to have some over here, I could have one here, and I could put one farther down right there. So show you how to draw these in actual perspective, which is not what I was doing a second ago. So again, we're going to put little divots where we want these to be, just straight down from where that mark is. And you know how we have these little things at the bottom? I'm going to do one about the same as I had done those. And then I'm going to run a line here from my vanishing point. Actually, here, let me bring this up because we're not working in such a small area anymore. Okay, so I'm going to run a line from my vanishing point. So like this corner, and it's here. So these are actually about the same size. And so that's going to be over this little thing here. Here we go. So remember we had put kind of an ellipse on the top, and then our pole came up. Now, next thing. Let's mark where the bottom of this is. This is like the top of our pole, the bottom of the light itself, right? Oh, hang on, you ridiculous cat. I am very sorry about my cat, guys. He's rude. No, go away. You have food. I'm busy. So we're going to ignore this rude cat. And I'm just marking. So what I've done is I've kind of lined up where my poles are going to go. So I've marked here, and I'm going to mark here. And that mark is where I'm going to have the top of my pole. It's going to be this point here, the top of my pole, the bottom of my lamp. That's what we've just marked. So I know this is going to be like this, and I'll need to erase that, like all of this. No, go away. Okay, so now we've got that. So now we can go ahead and draw on our poles. That's just a thick or heavy, if you remember what we talked about with line. That's just a heavy line. One there, and then here's one here. And remember, these are going to get thicker as they get closer to you. So the ones that are closer to you, they're going to have a heavier weight. Like that. Okay, and then we come up like this. This is going to be kind of an upside down triangle, right? The top of our lamp. Ugh, I feel like I messed this up. It looks kind of dopey, but oh well. There. Then we're going to do sort of the same sort of structure here. We've got our kind of an upside down black triangle. And one that's right side up. Just sort of connect our lines like that. There we go. We've got some street lamps kind of scattered out throughout our scene. And I'm just going to come back and kind of firm up all my lines around here. I'm so sorry. Okay. All right, and I think this may be it for me. I may go back and like add a little bit more detail, like this grass sort of texture in areas that I want to be grassy. But I think this is about it for me. And you can add whatever other sorts of details you want. But, and again, I am so sorry about the cough, guys. This is really too much talking for me. But they are all going to pretty much follow the same principles we've talked about here. Anything that you're going to have in a row, you're going to run a line from your vanishing point to the top and the bottom of those elements, and also any sort of anywhere where they are going to be, like where a change is going to happen, like in this example, the bottom of the lamp itself, like we wanted to have that sort of in a row so that we didn't have one with like a super tall lamp and then the other one with like a really short lamp. Because we wanted them all to match, right? And and then anything that is not exactly in a row, you can sort of, like, for me with these street signs, I sort of just looked at the buildings around the street signs and I was like, okay, this seems like, sorry, my cat is moving my camera because he enjoys being extremely difficult. But you can kind of look at the size of the buildings around that object and figure out, sort of eyeball, like, okay, what would be an appropriate size or height for this object, and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out before, yeah, because he's not going to stop. But I think that you guys have enough information now to add a wide variety of architectural details and other details and objects into your piece so you can make it unique and really fill that space with lots and lots of detail. So thanks for joining me, and I am excited to see them.